Welcome to Growing Bremerton Together with Mayor Patty Lent. I have two exceptional guests today. One is Paul Holliday. He is the president of the Bremerton Community Theater, and the other is Jackie Smaha. She is the executive director of Kitsap Cancer Services. They both have exciting and interesting information for us. Stay tuned. Welcome to Growing Bremerton Together with Mayor Patty Lent. My first guest today is going to be Paul Holliday. He is the president of the Bremerton Community Theater, and we're very welcome to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Let's go back to the very beginning. You were born as a Navy baby.
That's a good way to put it. New London submarine base. My father was the XO of the diving tank.
Of the diving tank.
He would train the submariners to come up in case their submarine was down.
But even before that, he worked on a famous ship.
He was, at 16 years old when World War II was going on, he was from Canarsie in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And he worked at the Brooklyn Navy shipyard, and he built the Missouri. He, all by himself, he told me. I found out that it was just little junction boxes. But he said if you go into any compartment, there's a junction box, and he told me exactly where it was. He says, I welded those in.
You know, that's exciting because the USS Missouri has such a history with Bremerton. Mm-hmm. So your dad is famous, and you had a connection before even being here. Mm-hmm. I understand that you joined the Navy. You did have one stint here as you had a port of call at Todd.
At Todd on USS Rourke, fast frigate 1053. She was being refitted, and I came over to visit one of Dad's enginemen over in Belfair, and I got to come to Kitsap and go through Bremerton, and this was early 80s. And it always stuck on me as just a beautiful place.
Right. We've gone through some ups and downs since the 80s, and we're on an upswing.
We absolutely are.
How did you get involved with the community theater?
My wife had told me that I should improv. She wrote a little note on the refrigerator that I should improv, and so I was up in Paulsbo, and I went to an audition with the improv troupe up there, Portable Reality Show, and I came back and I said, I did it. I got in. And she says, you got in what? And I said, the improv troupe. You told me to improv. She says, no, I told you to improve. But that was about 6 years, 7 years on and off with them. And then we moved down, my now wife. We moved here to Bremerton and got involved with the Bremerton Community Theater. I'm very, very happy. And
how old is that theater?
The theater, the building itself was built in 1975. However, the original theater, when it was established, was 70 years ago. We're in our 70th season right now.
Anniversary.
We are.
And I know that during the 40s, so when that was built, it was President Roosevelt that wanted people to take and have a different thought than just focusing on the war. And that's where he encouraged most cities to get involved with music or theater or something. And we had a benefactor. We had someone that was very involved with that very beginning in that little theater downtown Bremerton, and that's Robert Montgomery.
Yes, he was down there, and Robert Stewart was down there throughout the years as a big benefactor. Robert Montgomery celebrated his 70th anniversary as the owner of Bremerton Office Machines this past year, and he's still fixing typewriters. He actually used to fix typewriters for General Eisenhower at Supreme Allied Headquarters during the war.
I love history.
If you think about it too, that was the IT of the time. If the typewriters didn't work, the messages didn't go out, and then the troops in the war effort suffered. So thinking that he's a typewriter repairman doesn't give a good perspective on the importance that people with those skills and craftsmen had at the time, because that's how communications went.
It did, but his communications over the years, he starred and he helped write, he helped produce plays that went on at the community theater.
It's his communications during his time with the theater. He came on about 1952, I think, in the theater, and communicates very well. No, 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 no. She wouldn't do that. Come over here. Now think. Why are you doing this? And he still teaches today.
That's amazing. How long have you been the president of the community theater?
2 months.
Just 2 months, so you're
Just
brand
2
new.
months. Yes.
And your term is for?
The terms are for a year for the
year.
executive board, and then staggered 2 years for the at-large people.
Who's on your board?
Right now we have the vice president, which is Jenny Seller. Our secretary is Connie Baker-Saunders, and she's in charge of membership. The treasurer, Ann Biglow, and our production coordinator is Janet English. And Janet has worked in theater, studied theater. She's been a Walt Disney animator. And what I find fascinating about it is that she's a part of history. The Little Mermaid was the last all-hand animated film, and she got to be part of that.
Oh, how fun.
And the last time that animation was done by hand was Roger Rabbit, short, Roller Coaster Rabbit. They used computers in that, but then after that, nobody's painted. And she got to be part of that. And that's,
then she must be enjoying herself being on this board and seeing more creativity.
She's a scenery painter, and she does they all do wonderful work. Linda Jensen is our volunteer coordinator, Friends of the Theater coordinator, and she's been here for such a long time with a good background in Bremerton, as Jenny has, and the others. Eric Spencer is our technical director, and it's just it's an amazing group of people. Judy Nichols had been the president for a while, and
so was Jenny Sellers president?
And Jenny Sellers was president.
They stay on board. As far as the programs, you do about 4 different plays each year?
We do 5 on the main stage, and we mentioned Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stewart's benevolence allowed us to build another theater next to it. It's called a black box theater. It's the type of theater it is, and it's the Robert B. Stewart Performing Hall. And there we put on different kinds of shows that aren't as grand. There's a lot of different types of genres in theater. And these are more intimate. A lot of times they're more abstract, minimal. Company is coming up. They open on the 10th, and they run for 2 weekends. And it's an insight on a musical company. It's somebody's birthday. It's an actor birthday, and it's vignettes. It's not a long storyline like you usually see. So he's contemplating his relationships and things like that. But then there's 5 married couples and his 3 girlfriends that make these little vignettes that you come and see, and it's perfect for the RBS, is what we call it.
I've actually participated in the audience, and it is intimate. You're part of the stage. I mean, it is the black box. I believe that Robert Stewart provided $250,000.
He's very generous
to start that. So when you talk about a benefactor, it's someone that does believe in live theater. He actually was a commissioner for the city, and when he passed, his memorial was held at the Norm Dix Government Center upstairs in the mayor's office. So it's a long history.
And that was a great loss. But benefactors come large and small, and the magnitude that he showed still sparkles as brightly in folks who volunteer at the theater. When they greet people, being an usher, doing the raffles, the theater is volunteer-based, and the theater is part of the city.
Yes.
So when people are finding a way to help with the city, and politics isn't what they want to do, and they don't want to go and do this or that or the other thing, one of the things that's missed is this is a civic duty too. You can come to the theater and say that you've helped the city, because it's a not-for-profit organization, BCT,
right,
and it's a partnership with the city, and it's a wonderful way to see people do something different. You came to the talent show.
You've done that for at least 7 years?
The Kitsap Tenant Support Services has a talent show. And you came to that one.
I've been there a couple of times, and I love that. That's a performance where challenged or young adults and older adults get together, and it's their chance to shine. I think they practice all year long a song or some kind of a performance on stage, and then they show it off to the community.
And it didn't seem like there were many challenges, because when their hearts opened up and they started singing, some of those things were so amazing.
They are amazing.
Absolutely.
They're amazing. Where do you get your other talent when you say we're going to have auditions for a play?
Well, it goes out. We have the website, and we try to get it out as much as we can. The Kitsap Sun has always been a good partner with us. to spread the word. People come, and it's an audition. And I know a lot of folks that don't have a lot of practice in those fields. They kind of think, well, it's an audition. I don't know if I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
To decide that you might not be right is such an underestimation of what we all have inside us, because there are so many different things you can do in the theater, whether it's on stage or it's in the crew or the volunteering. But even on stage, you don't know what parts are there. And it could be that little thing in there that you remember when you were growing up, that, oh yeah, I know what that's about, and you read that line and it's more natural than anybody else because you actually used to do that. And then you get the part. It's amazing where it comes from. You know, we've got Harvey running now. It's in its last weekend as this
I hear great
originally
reviews
airs.
about Harvey.
And then 7 Keys to Baldpate, that's cast, and that's an interesting show that's coming up. And it was open calls, and there was a large, I think they have about a dozen or 14 people in that show. Company has a large complement, and that's going to be fun for people who are, say, in dancing schools or learning music or things like that, to come and see an insight on what it's actually like when you're doing that kind of thing.
And how do you market? I know that at the Manette Fest or at some different programs in the city, you've got sign-ups for annual memberships, and I usually try to get my tickets in early, even if I can't attend every one of the performances. So as far as marketing, how can people find out about getting tickets or season tickets?
Well, going to bctshows.org is the website, and that's fine. Giving a call, and I'm going to cheat just
It's
a little
okay.
bit. Our phone number is 360-373-5152. That's the box office. And the box office, when the shows are going on, the box office is open Wednesday through Friday. And then an hour before the show times. But we're having a partnership with the Admiral Theater, and it's a wonderful partnership.
Wow.
We're having partnerships with Harvey, for this show, for instance, Harvey's Butter Rum Company, which is a Bremerton-based
Yes, it is.
organization. Stacy and Scott Ryan are wonderful people, and it was just a perfect fit to have them come in, and they're sponsoring the show. When you come to Harvey, you can taste some of their treats, you can see what the product does, and of course, if you buy a tub of the rum batter,
Harvey's.
you don't just use it in the drink. You can use it in pork chops, and you can use it in treats and everything, and it helps the whole community. Because when you sell, and then the taxes come in, and then it helps us.
We're always saying buy local, and we know about Harvey's Hot Butter Rum Mix, and the McBride family, that's who now has it, and they have expanded, not just during the holidays, but year-round you can use that mix. So what a wonderful thing that you're marketing with a local product, and you are local.
And with the Admiral Theater too, because they're a theater, and we're linking up with them, and we're just real happy about all the partners that we're coming in. So all you have to do is keep your eyes open and come to the theater.
And come to the theater.
Yeah.
Be sure to watch as we are in our conversation. We'll be showing some of the things are your posters and your advertisements for each of your plays.
You'll be seeing pictures from the past shows that you've been probably seeing as we've been talking. The opening night soiree for the season. It's a fun place to be.
Pretty exciting. Well, obviously we're going to invite our audience to participate with Bremerton Community Theater. Paul, thanks for being my guest.
Thank you for having me there.
Stay with us. We've got more to come. Welcome back to Growing Bremerton Together with Mayor Patty Lent. My second guest today is Jackie Smaha, and she has a lot of information to let us know about a cancer service that has been in Kitsap County for how many years?
Since about 2004.
About 2004. Great information that perhaps the audience doesn't know. Welcome. I'm glad to have you, Jackie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Mayor.
And let's just learn a little bit about you personally. So you are not from Kitsap, but from the state of Washington.
That's correct. I was born and raised in the Yakima Valley in a small town called Prosser. Went to school in the state of Washington, and both my husband and I were involved in sports medicine before we moved to Kitsap County. I in orthopedics, and my husband the director of athletic medicine at Washington State for 21 years.
Lots of skills then that
Lots
you
of
have.
skills, yes.
And your family, you've got grandchildren that live here, so that's one of the reasons that you moved to Kitsap.
That is correct. Mm-hmm.
And then how did you form or get involved with Kitsap Cancer Services?
Well, unfortunately, I was diagnosed with cancer in 2002, and went through surgery and treatment, and became involved in the Pacific Ovarian Cancer Research Consortium at Fred Hutch. During that time, I was asked to consult with a small group. They were trying to get a 501c3 organization started out of Paulsbo. They asked my husband and I if we might consider helping them with their first ever fundraiser. So we said, well, yes, of course. And that's where the golf tournament started. Unfortunately, shortly after that, these two ladies who began this organization left the state, and we were left with this organization that we just couldn't let it go. And of course, by that time, my passion for helping other people with cancer was set in stone, and we couldn't let it go. So about 2004, we changed the name to Kitsap Cancer Services, and started to grow. We floundered a little bit for a while, trying to find ourselves and what we wanted to do with our money. So it's been a process, but we've found our way. We've gotten bigger, and most people have heard of us by now, but it's taken a good 10 years to get there.
You've got some great strategies, and I know that I was also involved with Fred Hutch Cancer Research, but in a guild capacity. So Kitsap County had a guild of about 20 members, and we raised funds annually for about 20 years, a little over 20 years, and we found that we just weren't making that inroads to the amount that we could collect. And I don't know how we found each other. We kind of disbanded from just fundraising for research and thought we could do something locally. And you appeared, and part of your growth is that you inherited some of us, and we had a fundraiser. We collaborated, and now you have 2 fundraisers a year.
That's correct.
The golf tournament usually is in which month?
August.
August. And you raise at least 60 or 70,000?
Well, we net about close to 40,000.
40. And about the same is netted from your February, and it's a sweetheart deal. It's a sweetheart dinner and dance. And that has been such a success. It's been held at the Kitsap Conference Center. And are you the president of the organization right now?
I'm the executive director.
Executive director. So with your board, and you've got a few people from each of the groups that have combined, where do you find that you are supplying the most need or the funding now that you have enough to actually make a difference in the community?
Yes, thanks to some fabulous philanthropists in our community, we've raised enough money to be able to fund at least 5 programs now. The largest program we have is called Compassionate Care Funding, which is an application process that we use. We work with local oncology social workers to find these patients who are in need. And these patients are usually operating at poverty levels. And a lot of people don't realize that we do have a lot of poverty in Kitsap County, unfortunately. And you throw cancer in on top of that, and these people have a lot of needs. So we have an application process. Our regulations are that there has to be a Kitsap connection. People from outside the county need to be receiving their treatment in Kitsap County, or if they live in Kitsap County, they can be receiving treatment outside of Kitsap, because there are some specialty cancers that need to be taken care of elsewhere. So there has to be a Kitsap connection, and people have to be in treatment or within 6 months of their treatment. But you know, there's always exceptional cases.
I know that you were able to support a program that bought iPads or something for people that are going through chemotherapy. So you made that 2 or 3 times a week program more enlightening because they had something to occupy their time with.
Sure, absolutely.
That's just one of the outcomes. And I know that you have a format that identifies someone that is actually in a cancer treatment or has been diagnosed with cancer.
Yes, yes. We work with probably 15 social workers throughout the county and over in Seattle to identify patients in need, and it keeps us pretty busy. We've budgeted over $60,000 for that particular program, and we're going to definitely meet that budget this year because the need is exceptional. We have some other programs. We have a holiday sharing program for families and children who are in need at Christmas time, Thanksgiving. You know, cancer really upsets the dynamics of the family, and so, you know, we like to provide something for people so that they can have some normalcy during the holidays, Thanksgiving meal.
The Helping Hands housekeeping.
Yes. That's huge. A lot of people who are so sick they can't keep up their homes, you know, in a healthy manner. We contract with housekeepers who go out and do that for them. And these housekeepers become their little lifelines because a lot of them are so sick that they don't have a lot of contact with the outside, so they're very happy to see these little housekeepers.
It almost makes it a little social event.
Absolutely.
That someone's coming in and not to sit with them, but to help them stay, have their houses tidied up.
Absolutely.
And I think that's great. Kitsap Kids Connected.
Oh yes, that's our program. We just started that a couple of years ago. North Kitsap was our pilot project, where we started with a wonderful group from the University of Washington who came over and gave us a big seminar on how cancer affects the dynamics of the family and especially the children. A lot of children slip through the cracks when mom or dad have cancer, and they act out and they make poor decisions, their grades fall. And so we had this organization who had over 30 years of evidence-based education on how cancer affects the family. It was so good that we decided to fund this project to take resources into the school systems to help the counselors and nurses to deal with children who are suffering with parental cancer. So that's been huge in North Kitsap, and so we are now dealing with the Bremerton School District, and we hope to have enough funding to get all the school districts. And we've
having 5 school districts in our county.
Yeah.
You've got a big responsibility that's coming ahead, but you have to start somewhere, and I think that's exciting.
Yeah.
And then for those seniors, when they're not kids, you have Survive and Thrive.
Oh, the Survive and Thrive is a wonderful program. It's an exercise nutrition program for cancer survivors. We partner on this project we partner with several people instead of reinventing the wheel, or when other programs offer things that we can't or don't offer, then we just partner with them and we help to fund their programs, which is what we do with Survive and Thrive. Harmony Hill Cancer Center. Harmony Hill is wonderful with their survivorship fair. We help to fund that. So we have a lot of partners. We help to fund an oncology massage program, which is wonderful.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. These are things that a lot of our audience wouldn't even have an idea. If someone wanted to join the organization and participate in fundraising or volunteering or being on any of your committees, how would they do that? Well,
they can call the Kitsap Cancer Services phone number. They can contact us online off our website. You know, there's so many ways to participate they can donate, they can volunteer, they can participate in one of our fundraisers. So there's a lot of things.
The 2 fundraisers, August if you play golf, and February if you want a delightful dinner and a remarkable, I don't know where you get the auction items that are provided, but of all the different auctions I attend, you have some of the best quality handmade things that are just one of a kind, and a variety. It's such a success. Doctors, lawyers, patients, all kinds of people participate in that event. So it's been great for the community. Is there any one thing that you like the most, or that you feel the most successful in? Or is it just all rolled into?
That's a great question. I think the biggest thing with me, and I think the way probably most of our volunteers feel, is that it's an incredible privilege to be able to give back or to help those who don't have the resources to help themselves. Mm-hmm. And I really think that, you know, we have a lot of hardworking volunteers. We work with the East Bremerton Rotary on this joint fundraiser. Mm-hmm. I think we all have that common interest in philanthropy and in helping others, or having a heart for philanthropy and helping others. So to me, that makes all of the hard work absolutely worth it.
Your passion shows, and I know for quality of life, you can give of your time, of your interest, and your money. Mm-hmm. And there are so many ways. It has been a joy to learn about some of the different things that I even didn't realize you'd expanded. So I'm glad you're on the program. I hope you've learned something, and that you will contact either to attend one of the fundraisers or get involved with the organization itself. Thank you for being my guest, Jackie.
And thank you, Mary Lamp, for having me.
You're welcome. We'll see you next time.